What is going on, guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another episode of PS4 jailbreak tutorials. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find and create your own cheats for your PS4 games. Now, this is something that's a pretty handy thing to know how to do. Obviously, there are trainers, there's online trainers, offline trainers that have cheats for many different games, and I've already done a tutorial showing you guys how to use those. So if you're looking for that, obviously there'll be a link in the description and in the cards in the top right hand corner. Sometimes you might want to create a cheat or a mod for a game that doesn't currently have a trainer available for it, or maybe there is a trainer available for it, but it doesn't have the cheat that you actually want, or maybe it does have everything you want, but it's for a different game version than the game version that you're running, and therefore the trainer isn't going to work on your game version. So in those cases, it's great to be able to know how to create your own cheats for your games. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys here in this video. It's basically the same process that trainer developers use to create those trainers in the first place. So that's what I'm going to be showing you here in this video. So to get started, what we're going to need to do is first of all load the PS4 debug payload. And before that, you're going to want to make sure you're connected to the internet on your PS4, or at least connected to your network on your PS4. So you have a valid IP address. If I go into the settings and go to system information, you can see I have a valid IP address right there. So what you need to do is go ahead and run the internet browser and then load your exploit host, whichever one you're using. So we'll just use caro218.ir right now. Obviously there's PRB's host and Night King's host. Go on whichever exploit host you're using. Obviously this works for other older jailbreaks as well, 6.72, 7.02, 5.05 or 7.55, or any newer jailbreaks that are out by the time you're watching this video. And we'll wait for that to complete, and then we'll load the latest jailbreak. And there's the jailbreak loaded. Now once the jailbreak loads, you want to run obviously Hen or Mira, something that will allow you to run your fake package games. If the game that you're wanting to cheat on is a fake package game, then you'll obviously need to run Hen or Mira. And then we're going to run the PS4 debug payload, and this is the payload you need to run in order to attach the tool that we're going to use to find our cheats in our games. So we're going to go ahead and run the PS4 debug payload and let that start up. Okay, and at this point we can then hit the middle button on our PS4, the PS button, press that button and then load the game that you want to cheat on, or install some cheats on, create some cheats for. In this case, I'm going to use Days Gone as an example, just because I have a save game on here that can get us straight into the game. So we'll go ahead and load up this game as an example, but obviously this applies to any PS4 game that you're wanting to create some cheats for. Okay, so I have the game loaded up here. So the tool we're going to use is called PS4 Games Reaper, which is kind of like the PS4 cheater tool plus debug watch kind of combined into one with a bunch of additional features. It's a very powerful tool for finding cheats in your games. So I'll obviously have a download link to it in the description. But what we're going to do is load up the tool. And there it is right here. And then what we're going to do is enter the IP address of the PS4 in the IP box, and then click the connect to PS4 button and give it a few seconds to connect. It should pop up there, PS4 Reaper connected, attached to eboot.bin. So we are connected. So at this point we can select the scanner right here. So click the scanner. And the first thing we'll try and find, we'll start off with something easy and we'll kind of work our way up into some things that are a little harder to find. So one of the easiest things to get straight away is the kind of money or currency in the game and how to modify that. So as you can see in this encampment right here, I have 55,000 credits, or whatever the currency is. So we're going to go ahead and have a look for that. It should be a fairly easy thing to find. So 55,000 is the value that we're looking for. Now, right now, because this is the first scan, I don't know whereabouts the kind of values for the game are stored, like which one of these processes it's in. So I'm just going to select all, which will search through all the processes. And once we kind of narrow it down to find out which processes most of the stuff for the game is stored in, then we can just search for those processes in future, which will not take as long to search through. But this first scan, because we're doing all the processes, will take some time. So what we're going to do is just search for the value 55,000. And we're going to search for it as a 4-byte value, which is probably what it's going to be. And as an exact value as well, obviously the exact value of 55,000, that's what we're searching for. So then we just click first scan and click OK. And it will start searching through all of the processes, all of the process entries to try and find that value, and it will find every occurrence of that value in the memory. So that's why I'm saying this is going to take a long time initially for the first scan, because we're doing all of the processes just to get an idea of where the kind of game data is stored. And then once we figure that out, we don't have to scan as many processes the next time. So yeah, we'll just give this time to finish. You can see the blue bar in the bottom left hand corner indicates how long it's taking. Okay, so in this case you can see it found 175 results, so too many to go through. We can't go through every single one of these, it will take too long. So what we need to do is change the value and then do a search to see which values have changed to the new value, and that will narrow things down even more. Just like Cheat Engine, essentially, it's the same thing. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and try and spend some money here. So if we go on to supplies, try and maybe buy something, fill ammo for 30, and that reduces the amount of credits that we have. So now we have 54,970. So 54,970. So we'll enter 54,970 and then do next scan. And this shouldn't take us long this time because it's only comparing the ones that it already found before. All right, and there we go. So this time we only got 2 results. So obviously it's going to be one of these. So if we double click it, we can then edit the value. So let's do 5 nines, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, enter. And then we go back into the game and see if that changed. So you kind of have to refresh the value. So if I go back to the merchant, yep, there you go. You can see it's changed now, 99999. So we have successfully changed that value. So that's a really easy one to do. Okay, so that was modifying credits, and that's fairly easy to do because once you've found the value and you've set the credits to a high number, you can obviously save your game, and then that will save to your save file so that when you next load up the game, you'll still have those modified credits. You can do the same thing with skill points and other kind of stuff like that as well. So let's do something that's going to be a bit different. That's going to cause a few more issues to kind of combat here with this next thing, which is to try and find the ammo in our game so that we can do unlimited ammo. So as you can see, I've got my weapon out here and it has 125. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, it's got 125 bullets in reserve, essentially. So let's try and search for that. So 125. Now, because we already searched before, sometimes you'll find that a lot of these values are kind of in the same locations in memory. So when you find one value, you can sometimes search for the other value in the same section of memory, and you might find it. And if you do find it, that's great because it won't take us long to search. So rather than selecting all the processes again, we'll just continue with the ones that we found the credits in and search in those same locations for the ammo value. So the ammo value is 125. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a new scan for 125. Okay, there we go, done. So it's found 1,283 results, which again is obviously too many to go through. So all we have to do is fire the weapon, reload, and now we have a different value, 114. So again, we just search for 114 this time. So 114, next scan. And there we go, we've narrowed it down to 3 values. So, we'll just try one of the values, try each one until one works. So let's set this to 4 nines and have a look if that's worked. Nope, doesn't look like it. So that's the wrong value as well. Yeah, delete this one and then go back into the scanner. So hopefully it'll be this one up here. So we'll do 9999 and go back into the game. And yep, as you can see, it has changed to 9999. So we can fire, we reload, and the ammo is staying nice and high. So yeah, you can see there on the weapon wheel that it's 9974. And it is going down though, so it will run out of ammo eventually as I'm reloading. As you can see, the ammo is still going down. One thing you can do is you can tick this little box to lock the value, which will keep setting it in memory over and over and over again, so that when I fire and reload, you'll see the value will jump back up. So we reload and it's gone back to 9999 again. So every time you reload, it will keep setting the value in memory so that your ammo never goes down, which is effectively infinite ammo in that gun. But there's a few problems with this, quite a lot of problems actually. So if we unlock that value now, So a bunch of problems with this. There's three main issues. One of the issues obviously is that this address is probably going to be dynamic because it's located in this no-name eboot section of memory. Normally, you know, if the value is found inside the executable, like these, if you find the value and it's inside the executable, then it's normally static. But, you know, in this section of memory, it's probably going to be dynamic. There's a good chance it will be dynamic, which means when we restart the game, this address will have changed, so that if we try to, you know, just put this address in again after rebooting the game, it's not going to take us to the same place. So we'll have to search for the ammo again every single time we load up the game, which is not what we want to do. Also, another problem is that what if you want to do unlimited ammo on the other weapons as well? Because that's only just done this one gun, which is this kind of assault weapon. But, you know, I've got like an SMG here that has 150 bullets in reserve, and then I've got this crossbow as well, which has 6 bolts in reserve. So what, I have to go ahead and search for every single gun and, you know, find the value for every single weapon. That's not great. I don't want to have to do that either, but I do want unlimited ammo on all my weapons. Yeah, and obviously the final problem is just the fact that, you know, you have to lock the value. You're constantly setting it in memory, so if your connection times out or something, you're going to lose the unlimited ammo. So a lot of problems there. There's one particular way to fix it, which is to use pointers. So instead of setting this individual value for each one of the guns to set the ammo and having to search for it every time if the address is dynamic, what we can do is try and find the instructions in memory that are actually setting this value. So whenever you fire your weapon, there's obviously some instruction inside the game that's telling that value, that's setting that value to, you know, reduce the ammo by 1 every time you fire. So there's some calculation going on in the game that's, you know, deducting the ammo that you fire from your total reserved ammo and setting that into this location in memory, into this memory address. So if we can find those instructions and where they're located, and they will be static, meaning those addresses for those instructions will not change when you restart the game. So you'll be able to just use that same address every single time. And what we can do is if we can NOP that instruction, which basically nullifies the instruction to stop it from deducting the ammo when we fire our weapon, then that should apply to all the guns in the game. So it will effectively give us unlimited ammo on every single weapon in the game. And it will be a static address and it will solve all of those problems. So in order to do that, what we need to do is set a watch point. So what we do is we double click the address, copy the address, make sure you right click and copy it. Don't Control C, Control V, because it will paste in the entire row. So just right click and copy, and then paste the address up here in the memory control box. Then go down to the debugger tab, and we're going to set a watch point. So we're going to set the length at 1, and we're going to set the type to write only. And then we're going to set that watch point, which basically means that whenever this value changes now by the game, whenever the game changes the value, it will take us to the set of instructions that are actually setting that value. So it's a way of us kind of backtracking to figure out which function is setting this value in memory, and then we can go from there. So at that point, all we have to do is make the game change the value, which we can do just by firing the weapon. And, oh, sorry, I was like, wait a minute, why didn't it change? That's because I need to reload, because it's only when you reload that it deducts the ammo from the reserved ammo. So if I reload, it should trigger it. There we go. That triggered it right there. And as you can see, it brings this up right here. If we click no, it should take us to the instruction, which is right here, as you can see. So this is the address, and this address should not change. This is a static address, so it will not change when you restart the game. And then from there, what we can do is paste this address in up here, and then click this button to open the disassembler. So that'll take us to these instructions. So these are the instructions right here. This is the one, as you can see, MOV RDI plus 0x60. So this is the one that is taking away our ammo, essentially. And there's also a sub right above it as well, which is a subtract instruction, which is basically what it's doing, right? It's subtracting the amount of, ammo rounds that you fired, and it's subtracting that from the amount of ammo you have in reserve. So we could either potentially nullify this instruction, NOP this instruction, or NOP this instruction to stop them from, reducing the ammo. And then that should give us unlimited ammo. So let's just try and NOP this instruction here, first of all. So if we right click and we go to the assembler, and if I just copy this and then type in the word NOP, N-O-P, and then analyze, which will get the values prepared, and then send data. So hit send data, and then it'll ask you if you want to add the code to the trainer. I would say yes, add the code to the trainer, and we can paste that in here and click OK. And then if we go to the trainer maker right here, you might have to click it here if this tab is not here, then click the button here to open it. And as you can see, it's added right here. So if I tick this box, that will activate that and it'll NOP that instruction. You can see it shows up right there saying that the instruction has been NOPed. So now let's fire the weapon and reload. And as you can see, the value has not gone down. Let's try another weapon. Let's try the crossbow. Fire the crossbow. You can see I'm reloading and the value is staying at 6. So we have unlimited ammo right there. Let's do the SMG. Fire the weapon here. Reload. And we still have 150 bullets in reserve. So that's given us full unlimited ammo, completely unlimited ammo on all of our weapons. And it's a static address, which means when we restart the game, we'll be able to just go back to this same address again and set the value and have our unlimited ammo again without having to search for the value again. So that is why pointers are so useful, and finding the instructions that control those values, that set those values in memory, because instead of having to search for the ammo for all of the different guns in the game, we can just, NOP that one instruction, and we have unlimited ammo for all of the weapons, and it's a static address, which is perfect. So yeah, that's essentially how you go ahead and do that. So let's look at something a bit more tricky, shall we say. Okay, so the last thing I want to show is how to find a value in the game that's not represented by a number, something like a bar, like the stamina bar or the health bar in the bottom left-hand corner. Even though the health bar does have a value, it says 350. I tried searching for that value before and could not find it. So obviously the real value in memory, the one that's actually representing the health in memory, is obviously a different number. Maybe that's just a rounded number or something gets added onto it. So that's not the actual value of the health. So searching for that number 350 will not find the actual health value. So how do you find, values that are represented by a bar or something that has like a recharge rate that's just like a bar that recharges? How do you find that kind of stuff? So in order to do it, we'll do health just as an example. Basically, what you need to do is go back to the scanner and set it to 0 for the actual value that we're searching for. We'll do a new scan. We'll scan for a float value, because generally stuff like health and stamina and stuff that's usually represented by a bar instead of a number is normally a float value. Not always. So, you could search for a 2 or 4 byte. But in most cases, it's normally stored as a float, especially something that has a recharge, something that has like a cooldown and it recharges over time. That's pretty much guaranteed to be a float, or maybe a double, but most of the time it's a float. So what we can do is we can search for an unknown initial value and do a first scan on that, because we don't know what the value of the health actually is. It's just a green bar and we don't know the exact value. So we're just going to search for an unknown initial value. And obviously we're just searching through the same memory sections we searched through before. Obviously if we don't find it, then we can select all the processes and do a much wider search. So you can see it's found a lot of values there. It's found 26,284,507. So obviously way too many. So what we can do is we can decrease our health value by, let's throw a pipe bomb or something on the ground close by, and that'll do us damage. So now our health has gone down by a significant chunk. So now that the health has gone down, we can then do another search. We still don't know what the actual value is, but we know that the health has gone down. So we can change this to a decreased value. So we can say that the value has decreased value, and then do a next scan. And then that should narrow down the search. So now we've narrowed it down from 26 million to 414,451. So quite a lot. So what we can do now is, do another one. So we can either, decrease the value again, or increase the value by basically, applying a med kit to put our health back up to max health. And now that our health's back up to maximum, we can then say that our health has increased. So we can do an increased value and do a next scan. So you can kind of oscillate between doing decreased values and increased values to narrow down the search. So now we're down to 9,000 results. Then again, we can do another thing you can do is an unchanged value as well. So if you just spend a little bit of time in the game and not really doing much, and then pause it again, and you haven't changed the value of the health, so we can do an unchanged value. And that should narrow it down even more. There we go, 3,000 results now. And then, of course, we can, you know, decrease the health again. And it's gone down. And now we can do another decreased value, and we just keep doing this. We keep switching between increased value, decreased value, unchanged value until you narrow down the amount of addresses that are left, until there's only a handful of them left. Okay, that's narrowed it down to 25 results now just by doing increased value, decreased value. Another thing you can do is take down like the health down to 0. So basically die in the game and then search for the value of 0 to begin with, which might, you know, help you find it faster. But just by using increased value, decreased value, and unchanged value, we've narrowed it down to 25 results. It's probably going to be one of these 420 results here, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, so 420, it's unlikely to be any of these ones that have a lot of decimal places or the ones that are negative values. It's probably not going to be any of those. It could also be these ones that are set to 1 because, you know, it could be anything that has a recharge. Often the maximum value as a float is stored as just 1. And then anything lower than that is going to be like 0 point something with a lot of decimal places. So yeah, we'll try that first though, these 420 ones, and see. So if we reduce the health to 100 and see if that goes down, and yeah, it did. It went down to 30. So that is our value right there. We found it. So once again, with the same thing with the other ones, we can set this back up to maximum health again, 420. And now it's back up to max. Yeah, so obviously to find the static address, we do the same thing we did with the ammo. So we copy the address into the memory control box. We go to the debugger and we set a watch point, a write-only watch point. And then, of course, we go back into the game and try and reduce the health again. Let's see, do I have another grenade? Yes, I do. So throw another one of these. And boom, there we go. It triggered it. So we can click no, and there's our instruction. Once again, we can just copy this static address in here, go to the disassembler, and we could nop this instruction, which is the instruction that triggered the watch point, and see if that works. However, I've done this before and it just crashes the game. The one that does work is this one above it, because it's a subtract instruction, although it's a different kind of subtract instruction. But it is a subtract instruction, so we could nop that one as well. And this one does work. So we can copy this and nop this one. And obviously, how did I find out that this one works and the other one doesn't? Obviously, I tried the other one first and the game crashed, and then I tried this one and the game worked, and the game did not crash. So we'll go ahead and set that right there and apply. And there it is. So hopefully, by doing that, our health should not go down now. So let's throw another one of these, and this time we'll stand right on top of it. And that should have killed me in one hit, but it didn't do any damage whatsoever. So let's do something even more powerful. Let's do a frag grenade. Stand on top of that, and boom. Again, no damage. The health did not go down at all. So yeah, that is basically infinite health. Now, the thing about this game is that infinite health for you also applies to all of the enemies in the game, which is why you don't see this kind of infinite health being used in any of the trainers, because it's not that useful if you have infinite health for yourself, but also every enemy in the game is unkillable, so it's not super useful. But obviously you can see by using that technique of increase value, decrease value, and by nopping the instructions, you can get things like anything that has a recharge or a health bar or stamina bar that recharges. You can do this with, and you know, get infinite stamina, infinite fuel in the motorcycle, infinite nitrous on the motorcycle, and any other stuff. And you know, you can apply this to all other kinds of PS4 games as well. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. That is how you use the PS4 Reaper tool to create your own cheats and trainers for your games. Now, we just found where all the cheats were, but obviously if you guys want me to cover how to actually make a trainer out of that, out of the stuff that we found, and actually make our own mod tool for the game, then let me know, because I can happily do a video on that as well. But anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.